4-1 to modify the contract with Time Warner. A couple of the reasons for it is between the school board, the committee meetings, and the city council, they're using up quite a bit of time as they're being shown, the TVs are being shown and rerun, and it's having a negative effect on the ability for Channel 8 to produce local shows. And so it was a request for a second channel that would provide, would prevent and show government broadcasts of all the different committee meetings. Time Warner did not have to do this. We did not meet the minimum, Cheshire TV did not meet the minimum requirement that would automatically kick in, that would require them to do the extra channel. And part of the deal was it would have to come up with equipment, and the equipment was going to cost $6,574. That cost would be with subscribers fees, franchise fees, and that would cost over the next 5 years. So that would be a recovery of about $1,300 a year, and we were told that should be about 1 to 2 cents per subscriber. We think it's a good idea. We will get better quality equipment, and we'll continue to be able to produce local TV shows. So I think we meet the needs of both the community and the people of the government broadcast. Oh, and there was one other part. There was a concern, there were questions about Time Warner being bought out, and whether for Comcast, and whether we should wait or not. And it went back and forth. The IMS director talked about that. The council talked about, the city council talked about that. And we thought based on all the information, this was in the best interest of the city to do the modification now.
Further comments? Council Clark.
Thank you, Ron. Past 5.5 years, I've really been looking forward to 2018 where we could renegotiate this franchise agreement with Time Warner, because there are several areas in that contract that are really a very bad deal for ratepayers, have been since the inception of it. Want to say that I'm totally for Cheshire TV getting their second channel. They need this, and all the things that go along with it. They need it. And why Time Warner will not do that, and why they essentially are just saying, no, we won't do it unless you extend our contract for another 5 years. And by the way, we're not going to talk about anything else either. Where it isn't going to cost them anything, it's no imposition upon them, just being a good corporate neighbor that you do this. But for the next, I guess for the next 10 years now, rather than the next 5 years, we have to put up with what I consider a very bad deal in this contract, just to get something that the city of Keene really needs. And I would think that Time Warner would agree that we really need it, and that it's not going to cost them anything. They should just do it, agree to it, within the money changes that they wanted to make to the contract. But to extend it, and without talking about any of the other items in the contract, I think is a bad idea to me.
Council Jones.
Your Honor, if I may, Your Honor, I would like to offer an amendment, just an add-on, because there is an adjustment to the franchise fees. I would like to amend the motion to say that all expenditure of all franchise fees directly benefit the subscribers of Time Warner Television. If there's a second, I'll speak to it.
Is there a second?
There's other cities where it goes into the general fund, or it can go into the parking fund, and I don't think that's fair to the subscribers of Cheshire TV. I think they're the ones paying for it. They shouldn't be here to subsidize the taxpayer. And I don't want it going towards a project like re-renovating council chambers or anything else. I think those who are paying should be the ones that directly benefit. So that's why I made that motion.
think that money goes into a separate fund now that the city council controls, and the city council determines how that fund is going to be spent. In fact, right at the moment, I think it's spent, at least a portion of it is spent for the Granicus system that we use for our communications with the public. So what you're suggesting is that rather than that money go into the designated fund that we have, that it's going to go someplace else?
That's correct, Your Honor, because you don't know what a council 5 years from now would direct that money towards.
But I have to say the council 5 years from now can change the change this.
No, that's true, but at least it's not paper.
Decisions for where they want that money to go. Councilor Duffy.
Thank you, Ron. I just want to clarify, and I understand what Councilor Jones is saying, but my understanding, doesn't the city have a contract or agreement with Treasure TV? I think that expired, I think, last November. So I agree with Councilor Jones, that's an important issue, but I'm wondering if it applies to this agreement with Time Warner, or that's something the city and Treasure, the council should perhaps encourage city staff to accelerate the completion of a new contract, and certainly that this would be an issue I'd like to hear more about and discuss more then. We have an expired contract with Treasure TV, but I don't think that applies to what this is here. I may be wrong, but it seems like it's two separate issues, and what Councilor Jones was talking about, I'm all for getting involved in and discussing, but I don't know, maybe I should just shut up and hear if it's relevant or not.
Thank you, Your Honor. Right now, the way the fund works, it is benefiting the subscriber directly, has benefited the subscriber directly. The city clerk's office and others on staff have been able to work with that fund and with the council over the years relative to expenditures that have created a Granicus system, have helped offset the cost of bringing meetings and public information from the government source to the general public. I would be concerned about this amendment simply because I think that it could also lead to a misunderstanding with the board of directors for Treasure TV, who in the past have registered their concern that the entire franchise fee go to them, meaning Treasure TV. I think that there's a legitimate reason for the city to receive a small but important portion of that franchise fee in order to sustain the public information that government is required to put out so that people can see the transparency and understand right from their living rooms what's taking place here in Keene.
Anybody else for the first time? Further comments? Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I just want to say, I was no way insinuating that all the money goes directly to Cheshire TV. And to answer Jim, yes, this is the time to address the franchise fee, because we're asking Time Warner for the franchise fee. Cheshire TV doesn't get to ask for the franchise fee. The city council does. And it's actually Time Warner's choice whether they pass that on to the subscriber or not. We just charge them the fee. So we're not charging the subscriber, they are. But as I said before, I've seen it in other cities where that fee has gone towards general funds or towards special projects, and I think at least if we have something on paper, which is the reason why we accepted this agreement, it would help with future councils, at least it would be documented.
Councilor Roberts.
If we go to page 2, in the minutes 1, 2, 3, 4, in paragraph 5, it says, Mrs. Landry, in response to Council Clark, stated that the city had the same reaction to the 5-year extension because of the 3.25 cap and the city's inability to increase this 5% without further negotiation. Mrs. Landry stated that Time Warner, however, was willing to increase the franchise fee to 5% before 2018. She added that the city did not try to bully their way into a 5-year agreement. Basically, it's 3.25 we as a city council has to go and request for an increase in the franchise fee. And I think if we ask for a request, I think that'd be the more appropriate time to figure out where that franchise fee was gonna go and how it was gonna benefit the community. But as right now, this agreement does not increase the franchise fee, but it gave us the ability to increase the franchise fee before 2018, which we did not have in the past.
I'm gonna, Council Clark, I'll recognize you in a second, but I just want to point out, the use of the franchise fee is part of a negotiated contract between Cheshire TV and the City Council, and the City of Keene. It is not part, this is relating to Time Warner and a contract we have with Time Warner. But the use of the franchise fee, which is what Council Jones is talking about, is controlled by a contract that we have with Cheshire TV. And, you know, I think it's more relevant to address this in connection with the renegotiation of that contract rather than through the franchise agreement with Time Warner. Council Clark?
Thank you, Ron. Yes, I was going to affirm just what you just said. and add that I've heard it before, during discussions back on the old cable commission, there was discussion about setting aside certain dollars in the fund to do this, that, and the other thing that could enhance the capabilities of us to use camera systems and et cetera like that, and all sorts of equipment and other sort of things. And I think one of the things that we talked about there is if we restricted this fee to go only towards subscribers, then that means we really can't use it towards the grantee system or anything that puts any money towards web-based distribution, because that goes out to the world and not just ratepayers. I mean, it is a small amount, but if we pass this, then that really will restrict us to go directly just to the, what is it, 6,000 ratepayers and no one else. And that means that we're not on the web anymore. And there's probably some other things that are involved as well. I mean, I understand the argument, but it's just not going to be something that's workable.